Our final workshop presenter is the Reverend Dr. Paul Atlas, a gifted musician. Has a bachelor's degree from North Carolina State University in mechanical engineering, a 1997 graduate of St. Aug College with a BS degree in music and math. He received his Master's of Divinity from Duke Divinity School in 2011 and received the Doctor of Ministry from Our Hood in 2019. He has served a number of churches, including Kyle's Temple Vallejo in California, and is now the founding pastor of the Amana Amazon Church in Knightdale, North Carolina. He has revolutionized this whole idea of cyber singing. And although we are coming out of this pandemic, the whole issue of excellence in music, cyber singing, and presenting our absolute best musically before the Lord will never go out of style and will never be out of season. I'm looking forward to this workshop. I present to you Reverend Dr. Paul S. Atlas.
Shall we say to these things? There's still COVID and so much disease. So what shall we say to these things? So many people hurting. It's getting hard to believe.
So many questions, but still one answer. If God be for me, who can be against me? If God is with me, whom shall I fear? If no one knows me, still his heart adores me. I am safe, I am loved.
for us, who can be against us? If God is with us, whom shall we fear? And if no one knows us, still his heart, he adores us. And we're safe, we're loved, and we're healed.
Well, hello. I am absolutely thrilled to be here for this workshop on bringing choirs together virtually. Cyber choir, if you will. And my name is Paul Atlas, and I'm here to let you know that this cyber choir thing is within your reach. And so I have a nice presentation set up today. And before I jump into that, I'd really like to thank Bishop Crenshaw for inviting me to come out this day and present. It's an honor. It was a big surprise, but I'm grateful to the bishop and to Reverend Naila Hubbard for reaching out, and to all my people out on the West Coast. I miss you guys. It's good to see you. But we do have some good information to share on today. And so I want to just talk about the purpose of what we're doing today. And let me just introduce a little bit of who I am. So my name, as I said before, is Paul Atlas. I've been in this thing for a while now. Just a little bit of my background. Started out pastoring in Allen Metropolitan AME Zion Church in Franklinton, North Carolina. Stayed there a few years. Was appointed to Oak Grove in Irwin, North Carolina. Stayed there a few years. Then went to Bethel AME Zion Church in Spring Lake, North Carolina. Stayed there a few years. And had the wonderful opportunity to come out to Vallejo, California, and I pastored the Cows Temple AME Zion Church for a total of 10 months. And then, unfortunately, my sister passed, and we ended up moving back to North Carolina to take care of my mother. And when I got back, I was appointed to the Centennial AME Zion Church in Bear Creek, North Carolina. And I'm presently, we planted a church back in my hometown of Knightdale. And so presently that's where I'm serving, the Amana AME Zion Church in Knightdale, North Carolina. And just for the record, amana is a Hebrew word that means strong faith and firm action. And so that's a little bit about me. And so how did we get to the point where anyone would ask me to do a presentation on cyber choirs? Why me? That's a really good question. But let me just tell you about me, and maybe my story will inspire someone to just give it a shot, to just try something that you haven't tried before, and just go for it and see where the Lord leads you. So at Amana, remember this is a church plant now. We had no online presence whatsoever at Amana, other than a Facebook page. And then that was just used statically. We didn't do any live broadcast, nothing, none of that. On Sundays, look, we might put some announcements up, invite you to come to church, but we were not doing any live anything. We did not have any type of a YouTube presence. We were like probably 90%, 90-some% of the Amy Zion churches across the connection. We were just doing what we did on Sundays, right? In fact, I was hesitant about going live. Because, man, when you go live, you're out there. You know what I mean? You're exposed when you go live. You know, things that the family right there in the church might excuse. You go live, everybody is seeing your stuff. So I was like, man, I don't know about all this going live stuff. And then the pandemic hit. Man, I was like, God, really? We trying to plant a church, get a church up and go. We just got admitted to the conference in November, and then here we come March, a pandemic hits, and we have to stop having live in-person worship services. Okay, well, sir. Well, now, suddenly, I'm thrust out there, and there's no choice but to have an online presence, right? If you want to survive, if I wanted to survive, we had to do something virtually, online, cyber, something. And so we began to do services. Me and my wife began to, you're looking at the church. This used to be the dining room. Now it's the sanctuary. So we come here every Sunday, and I play, and she sings and leads worship, and I preach, and it's been working. The two of us were able to pull this off. But the choir was sorely missing that joy that they got from sharing their gifts in worship. And so I said, there got to be something that can be done to still be able to pull the choir together, even though we're socially distancing. We still want to be, there's got to be a way to still pull the choir together and put something together where they still feel a part of the worship experience. And so I did a lot of trial and error. You can see down here, trial and error. I tried to call together a Zoom choir rehearsal. Oh man, epic fail. one thing that I know, you cannot just get a group of people on Zoom and have someone playing and have everyone singing and think that that's going to work, because it's not going to work, because there's latency issues, the delays, and I play this and you hear it 2 seconds later and then you sing it, and it's a hot mess. So Zoom didn't work. And I'll be the first to admit, I tried and it did not work. And so then I went to Google and I said, there's got to be a way. Let me see what I can figure out. Let me Google some stuff. How do these people put these? I'd seen those choirs where, for lack of a better term, I'm going to use the word virtual choir. I'd rather say virtual gathering of choir members than virtual choir. I'll talk about that at the end of the presentation. But for now, it had to be a way to virtually gather the choir together and have us sing. And so I Googled it. And when I found out some things on Google, I discovered I had much of what was necessary. I decided to try it. And so I just want to share with you what I have learned in my trial and error, much error along the way. You with me? Yeah, so I would like to, if we could, before we jump into this workshop, just have a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for this gathering of your children from California all the way to North Carolina and anyone who's online anywhere in between. We're grateful for the technology that allows us to connect, Lord, and we pray that this workshop will be worthwhile. And while we may not get bogged down in all the technical details, Lord, encourage someone in the midst of this to just step out and try maybe something they haven't tried before. We thank you in advance for what you're going to do in this place. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so I tried it. And so there are some steps that I have learned that work for me. And let me stress this. Look, you may not have a $700,000 audiovisual budget. In fact, doubt if any of us do, right? But you have something that you can use, right? And so some of what you'll see in this workshop will be things that maybe you can aspire to obtain somewhere down the line, but there's enough in here that you can do now. I don't care whether you're a church plant with just a few members and no musician. That doesn't mean this won't work for you. You may have a church with 4,000 members and all. Well, hey, maybe there's something you can learn from this as well, and hopefully I'll learn something in the midst. So here's what we discovered. There's a two-step process, right? There's the production of your audio, right? And then there's the production of your video. So two separate steps that have to be undertaken if you're going to pull this off. So the first thing I want to talk about is the production of the audio, right? The music, whatever song you're going to have the choir sing, producing the music to that first. And so one of the first things that you're going to have to do, there's no way around it. You have to create a master track, right? This is an unskippable step. No matter where you are in the paradigm, you have to create a master track first, and there are several ways you can do that. So if you're a church and you're blessed to have some live musicians already in place and you know, some skillful musicians. You could have them you could come in and you could just video them playing whatever song you're going to have your choir do, video them playing it live, right? And you can pan around, keep them socially distanced, and pan, zoom in on the keyboard player and get some good shots of the bass player and the drummer, and just, you know, whatever you do, you can use your iPhone, or you could just, even if you don't video them, they don't even have to be part of the video if you don't want. You need to get a clean recording of the musicians playing whatever the song is that you're going to have your choir singing. And they can do that live, right? That can be a live audio recording. Or you can use what's known as digital audio workstation software, DAW software. That's software on the computer where I use that a lot. So I can come in and I can play the piano parts. Right? I can play the piano parts. Then I can come back, and on top of the piano part, I can put the bass part. Right? And I'd have it on a bass sound, right? I can put the drum tracks in, put each part in separately. But see, the deal is, everybody doesn't have access to DAW software. So either have your musicians play it, or if you are blessed to have this type of software, create the tracks. Question, well, Pastor, see, you don't understand. I'm at a little church. We have 6 dedicated choir members and 1 piano player, and yeah. So what's up? How can we participate? Well, there's still, if the musicians can't play it, or if you're unable to have musicians that can pull that off, you don't have the software and all the other hardware and stuff that's necessary to produce it that way. Look, you can purchase instrumental tracks. There are several places where you can purchase instrumental tracks, and it's a wide range of possibilities. I want to share some of those. So look, there's one that's called multitracks.com. And on Multitracks, you can purchase, look, this is the original tracks used by the original artist that produced the song. So if I wanted to pull something by, I don't know, Walter Hawkins, there's Walter Hawkins' original stem tracks. And you get the piano track, the bass track, the drum track, the lead guitar track, the horn tracks, all separate. And you can purchase them and then import them into a type of software and mix them like you want. And if you have your own piano player, well, you can just take out their piano part and you can have your piano player play along with it, right? So now those original stems will cost you $35 a pop. Now, most of us think that's kind of, maybe get one, that's good. But if we talk about doing a whole service or doing a multiple set of videos, that's a little steep there. But if you want the original stems, $35. Or on that same site, you can for $8, you can purchase. It's a performance track. It's the instrumental mix down of the original song, right? So, and you can get it with or without the background vocals, right? So it's kind of like karaoke style. So you have some excellent sounding music behind you, right? For $8, whatever song you want to choose, right? There's another site, loopcommunity.com. That's another good site. And on this site, for $29, $29.99, you can purchase what I call reproduced stems, right? In other words, there's people like me, for example. I may go out. Our theme song at my church is Finish Strong, Strong Finish, Strong Faith. So I played all the parts and put it together for Finish Strong. And I could sell my arrangement to Loop Community, right? And then they would put it out there for people to purchase, right? And so you can for $29, you can get each part, the piano part, the drum part, right? They send you a file that's got all those parts, and you can adjust volume and all of that stuff with each part. Or if you don't have the software to do all of that, you can just for $9.99 purchase, right, the stereo instrumental karaoke style track. Some of them may have background vocals, most of them don't, right? But like we say, we're just putting the music together for our choirs to sing, so the background vocals are not really crucial. The choirs are going to be singing the vocals. And so then there's also Daywind. It's a site that sells Christian instrumental tracks, right? Some of them have the background vocals, some of them don't. You can purchase tracks in the original key that the people did it in the original, or you can purchase tracks that are in lower, medium key, or low key, depending on your voices. You can decide. And those tracks are like $8.98, and you get a choice. For $8.98, you get a vocal demonstration track that's got the lead vocals and everybody, so you can hear how the song is supposed to go. You can buy the track in a high key, in the original key with background vocals. You can get the original key without the background vocals. You can get a low key with or without vocals. And you get all of that for $8.98. You go online and it's a download. And then finally, there's a site called Fruition Music. FruitionMusicStore.net, and these for $4.99 you can buy the reproduced stems. These are the MIDI files. They're not as pristine sounding as if you go to Multitracks, but they're good. They're good. Or you can go for 99 cents. Ha! Now we're talking. 99 cents. You can get performance tracks without that. They're not going to have background vocals on them. 99 cents per song, and you pretty much, you can do a search. You type in the name of the song, and they have a large variety. So look, I've already shown you. You can have your musicians play the music that you're going to use, right? And record them doing that. You can record some stuff yourself using some digital audio software if you have it. Most of us probably won't have it, so don't sweat it. You can purchase stereo performance tracks, right, from a multitude of sources, right? Everything from gospel to hymns to traditional gospel to contemporary gospel to praise and worship. It's all out there. You can get the music, and I'm praying that with me being virtual, I hate not being able to stop and answer questions, but I'm hoping I'm explaining things well enough now so that we can work this thing out. So that's creation of the master track. Now, after you have that, whatever the song is, you have it arranged just the way you want it. And you have to make sure. In fact, let me go back a slide. I'm going to explain to you why I pay. If I don't feel like recording everything myself, why would I pay $35 for the original stems? Because then I can take those, put them in my software, cut and paste and arrange. If I want to do the verse twice, but they only do it once in the original song, I can cut, paste, slice, move around, rearrange. I can have it go a musical break in the middle. I can hit mute on everything except for the drums and let everything be played. It's endless things that I can do if I have the original stems. I can take what they did and I can Paul Atlas-ize it. I can put my own piano part in and change some things up and you know, full access to do what I want. So that's why a lot of times if I'm not going to do all the music myself, I would go for the original stems. But look, that's don't worry about that. The bottom line is, whatever music you decide to do, the arrangement, you're locked in. Once you decide what song you're going to do, you need to decide before the musicians even record it. I want one verse, one chorus, second verse, second chorus, go to the bridge, key change, vamp on the end twice, and end it. But once you set that, ain't no coming back later saying, I wish we could do the vamp 3 times. Well, no, we ain't doing it twice, right? So after you get your arrangement, you have the song just the way you want it, and it's recorded, you have to create a rehearsal track. Now, what that is you take the music track that you have and have someone sing each part over that. So you have to have someone to sing the soprano part, right? Daily I shall worship thee, right? Sing the whole song, the soprano part, record them singing the soprano part. Then go back and get someone to sing the alto part. Daily I shall worship thee. Right? Record them doing that. Record someone singing the tenor part. Daily I shall worship thee. Right? And I have strong vocalists in parentheses, in quotes, because, you know, a lot of times with my choir, I end up being the one recording all the different parts. And I'm definitely not a strong vocalist, but I'm strong enough that I can hit the notes and get it to them, and they can learn the parts from the recording, right? Because I'm not pulling the whole choir together for rehearsal. That defeats the purpose. I can't get the whole choir up in here. So I record the parts, send them to the choir. They learn the parts on their own. And you don't have to worry about them, the alto hearing soprano, because all I sent them was the alto part. Learn what you hear, right? I send them their parts. I give them a deadline. By such and such a date, you need to know this. And so those are the steps for creating the rehearsal track, right? Whew, man, I didn't know all this went into it. Well, yeah, there's a little bit of a process here. It's a little bit of a process, but it's worth it in the end. So once you've done that, audio-wise, you're pretty much the pre-production work on the audio is pretty much done, right? You did your master track. You recorded a however you did the master track. Then you came back and you recorded your rehearsal tracks, soprano, alto, tenor, whatever the parts are. You recorded that. You sent it out. Each member their part. Every soprano in the choir got the soprano part. Every alto got the alto part. Every tenor got the tenor part. You email those out. They learn them. Then we're ready to begin the video production phase, right? So now, each choir member that just got their part, they learned it, they've been practicing it, they've been riding in the car, listening, all going to work, listening, they're ready. Now you need each one of them to record themselves, to video record themselves singing along with the track. It's got to be along with the track, right? Sister Mary can't, I shouldn't have said Mary, there's a Mary out in California. Sister Susie can't just decide, oh, I know the song, I can just video myself singing it. Well, no, because everything has to be synced up in the same key, at the same tempo. So they would record video with themselves singing along to the instrumental track. But now they need to have on some little earbuds or headphones or something, because on that track, all I want to hear on that track are their vocals. I don't want to hear the music on the video that they send in. So if they're recording themselves on an iPhone, then they need to play it on some separate device and listen to it through earphones and sing what they're hearing in the earphones. So that way the only sound being picked up by the video are the people's voices, right? And the reason you do that is so that you can come back and adjust volume of the voices. Now, if I'm just going to Mary, I'm just picking at you. If Mary decides she wants to blast her song on the stereo and sing along with the stereo, then when I get her video back, if I need to bring Mary's voice up louder, but she's got the music in there with it, when I bring her up, I'm actually bringing music up too. So all I want on the video is to hear the people's voices, right? Whew, I call that a clean vocal track. So you can't have them singing it with the TV on. They can't be singing it with the dogs barking in the backyard. You can't, just clean vocal track. You with me? Okay. And then somewhere in the midst of that, you would have needed to decide what everyone's going to wear. What kind of background you want. Probably just a light-colored, plain background behind them, right? We did the first video we did, man. You need to see my face on this one. Look, the first video we did, I had folks sitting on big flowery floral, I shouldn't say that. We were sitting on couches. We had on T-shirts with designs all on them. We were sitting at desks. I had folk that half of their face was cut off in the video. Oh Lord. Like I said, trial and error with lots of error. Music sounded great. Video was looking crazy. So decide on your attire, your background. Decide whether they're going to have their phone landscape mode or portrait mode, or vertical or horizontal. You decide which way you want them to orient their phones, because I'm telling you now, you don't want half the people like this and half the people like this. So decide all of that up front. Then have them do their videos. Upload the videos. End up being large files, too large to email sometimes. So then you need to upload them. You create a share folder on Google Drive or Dropbox or something. If you have questions about that, I'm sure. Look, there's got to be a way you guys can contact Reverend Naila Hubbard or someone in the California Conference if you have questions, and then get those questions to me, and I'll do my best to answer them. But, so each person would do their video, upload it to Google Drive or Dropbox or whatever, and then whoever the video editor is would collect all those and then begin the process of assembling the final video, right? So now the musicians have played their part, the choir members have done their part, and now everything else is going to be on the production side. And if you have any questions about anything I've said, please, I wish I could just get on a plane and just come to California and I could help you, but maybe one day. But for now, I hope this is making sense. They recorded their parts, clean vocals. We got the background, everything straight. We uploaded them to Google Drive, and now we're ready to start assembling the video. And so this is the most painstaking, tedious, and tasteless part of the process, because you have to take each person's video and now you have to sync them up so that somehow they are all saying the same thing at the same time, and it doesn't look like this. Right? Johnny's singing and Mary's singing and they're going like this. You have to have it so that they are all synced, right? And I've learned a few tricks on syncing. But before I even get into that, there's some, let me go back. Y'all didn't see that. So Johnny's singing. Daily I shall worship thee, right? And Mary sends her video. Daily I shall worship thee. That's their mouth. That's Mary's mouth. That's Johnny. Well, Mary Tisdale. This is Mary's mouth. Anyway, I love you, Mary. So Johnny's singing, Mary's singing, and you look at the videos and it looks like this, right? They're not together, right? Johnny's ahead or behind Mary. So the process of syncing is taking Mary and moving her video so that it's aligned with Johnny's, right? And that's the most time-consuming part of this process, syncing the videos so that we look like we're all saying the same thing at the same time. And so there's some software that there's no way around it. If you're gonna do a video, there's no way around having some video editing software. Now, some software just happens to be more capable. Let me change. That's not the right word. Some software has more bells and whistles than other software. So I'm just going to show you some examples. I'm going to tell you what I use, but there's no way around it. You can't put a choir video together without some video editing software. It ain't going to work. So Adobe Premiere. Here's the softwares. This is what I use personally. Adobe Premiere. It works on either Mac or a PC, either one, and you can probably purchase it outright, but I choose I already had the annual subscription. And with the annual subscription, you get Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, you get Acrobat Pro, you get all these suite of software, various software, and one of which is Adobe Premiere, which is one of the top level video producing softwares out there. And that'll cost you like $239 annually. You can do it, and they charge you by the month, whatever that is. But so that's that. For me, it was well worth it. I had it before I even started using Premiere. I was using some of the other stuff. Or there's Final Cut Pro, and that works for Macs only. That's the drawback of that one. I don't want you to look at me on this. I want you to see me. You got to see me. You got to see me. Okay, look. I'm a Mac person. I'm a Mac man. But I have not yet taken the time to learn Final Cut Pro. I plan on doing it because from what I understand, the DAW, the music software that I use, Logic, works seamlessly with Final Cut Pro, and I want to experiment with that. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to. But for now, I use Adobe Premiere. But there's another version of Adobe, that by Adobe Premiere Elements, right? And I guess the name implies you get elements of Adobe Premiere, probably enough to do what you need to do for what we're doing. You might not get all of these great effects and lighting effects and all of this stuff, but you get enough to get some videos together, sync them up so that everyone's singing together, right? So I'm not going to go into the hows and the technical issues of all of that stuff with the software. Google is your friend. Google Adobe Premiere. Google assembling virtual choir or whatever. And you have the software there. You can follow them on Google. That's what I did until I got it so I could do it myself, right? And so then once you get that software, the next steps, take the videos that each person sent in, name them. Mary Alto, Johnny Tenor, Susie Soprano. Name them. It will help you in later on. Name each video. Load them each. Upload them into your video software, whichever one you choose. It's probably just a matter of dragging the file from a folder into the program, right? Load them up. Be sure it'll probably ask you somewhere to scale. Be sure they're all the same scale. Different phones record at different scales, just to put it simple. So you want them all at the same scale. Then Mary may have been all up in the camera like, oh, y'all can't see my face. Hold on. Mary, you know I love you. I wouldn't say your name this much if I didn't love you. So Mary sent her video in, and she's all up in the camera, right? And then and Johnny sent his in, and he's standing 10 feet away from the camera. So you might need to do some cropping and some scaling and some resizing and doing all kind of stuff in order to get each person's little block to look the same, to be, or maybe you're one of those asymmetric people and you want it everyone with a different size, whatever. You need to size the videos and scale them and frame each one. Arrange them on the screen the way you want them, right? You may want, when the soloist is singing the solo, you may want to cut out the choir. So all you see is the solo. And then when the choir comes in, boom, there they are. And then maybe you can just do some play around with some stuff. You have freedom to do all of that, I'm sure, with each one of these software choices. And then once you get them all loaded in and they're synced and everyone, and so that's the hardest part, syncing them. And I will give you a hint on this. If we were doing that song, Daddy, I shall worship thee, right? Maybe in the music, there's a spot where the piano goes in the intro. There's a chord. So if you can get each video and just line up where the boom is, right? You can assure the rest of the video is going to be in sync. So you find you a spot that you can be sure everybody, if they said daily, everybody said day at the same time. Day. Sync up the day. If you don't, you're going to have a mess. So sync it up, do that, and then within the video software, you can adjust the volume of each singer. So if Mary's singing real loud, and Sister Susie was really shy, but she has a really good voice, you may want to pull Sister Susie up a little louder, bring Mary down, right? Get it all mixed. And then the last step, after you get everything arranged, the audio is mixed, everybody's balanced, everything is nice, everyone is synced, everyone is the right size, all of that. Then there's the process called rendering. It's really only hitting a button, boom, render or export or whatever the program calls it. But what this does, it takes all the different videos, right, and kind of like encapsulates them into one, right? So that you don't have 50 different videos trying to take up hard drive space all at once. It takes all of that and puts it together, kind of compresses them, I guess, and that will take hours, right? So a lot of times, depending on how many different people you have in your choir. So what I do when it's time to render, I got everything arranged just like I want it. I render at night and go to sleep and wake up the next morning, because sometimes it takes 3-4 hours to render a video. I wake up the next morning and boom, here's my video. Everything is set. We're good to go. And then you look at it and you may find, oh man, how did Mary get a half a beat behind everybody? Then you go back in to this software, scooch Mary's video up just a few frames, re-render it for 3 hours again, and then check that one out. Okay, now it's a little better. And you keep doing that until you get it right. And there's probably a better way to do this, but they called me to do the workshop, and this is what I know. And so all I can tell you is what I know. And so if someone knows a better way, please look me up. So thank you, Western Episcopal District, for this time spent. I pray that this has been fruitful time together, and I enjoyed the opportunity to being able to share what little I have learned. And if you have any questions, just feel free to hit me up at amanachurch@gmail.com, and I will get back with you if you have any questions about anything in this presentation. And if I don't know the answer, I will try to steer you to a source who can answer those questions. And I did say I was going to speak to one last thing at the end of this video. I wanted to speak to our language, the language of virtual. I was having a discussion with one of my colleagues out there, Jawad Love. Virtual. The word virtual literally means almost, but not quite a thing, right? So if I go to a car dealership to buy a car and I want a new one, but they say, oh, but we have one that's virtually new, that means it might smell new, look new, but there's something about this thing. It isn't quite new. It's close enough to probably get by, but it's not really new. It's virtually new. Virtually means it's close, but not really the real thing. So when we speak of a virtual gathering of choir members, the gathering is virtual. I mean, you're there, he's there, she's there, I'm here, but we can come together in a forum that makes it seem as if we're just about together, right? That's fine. But when we begin to talk about worshiping virtually, that means our worship is almost worship. It's close to worship, but it's not quite worship. And so I have a problem with saying that my worship on Sunday, my worship experience that we have when we on Facebook Live, that we're worshiping virtually. No, we're gathered virtually to worship for real. So no, we're not having a virtual worship service. We're having a virtual gathering of worshipers. There's a difference. Some may think it's just semantics, but that's just my little 2 cents worth. So we're gonna end now. I'm thankful for the time once again. Thank you, Bishop Crenshaw. Thank you, Reverend Naila Hubbard, for coordinating this thing and getting it all worked out. And I appreciate it. Thank you, Mary Tisdale, for letting me use your name all throughout the workshop. And so we're gonna just end with a video that we did at Amana. It's a theme song from the church. I did all the music tracks using DAW software, and had the choir members. The only difference, I had the choir members to come in one by one to the studio and record their videos here. That way I could control everything about their recordings. But other than that, just like I told you, is the way we did it. So enjoy. Strong finish, strong faith. God bless you.
In this race that we run, you gotta have endurance, 'cause it's a marathon. I was born short up to win, and pursuit with faith until the